Look, man, I know you must be lonely. I know what it's like to just, need someone. Like to just wake up and go to bed, just wishing there was someone to be doing all the stuff with. Because it's just not the same if you can't share it. But I hope you understand that it's not always the one that you find first, next, is not necessarily the one. And when you're lonely enough, you really want them to be the one, especially if they have so many great traits, especially if the two of you can laugh together and you just understand each other. Any number of things you can have in common that makes you just want them to be the one. And you're gonna see some stuff that you don't like and that you think, well, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, and this isn't necessarily who they are. This is just what happened today. But over time, that if that keeps happening, you do have to be able to recognize it, and you have to be strong enough. You literally have to be man enough to walk away. It's one of the hardest things you can do, because in between the bad times, they're bringing you so many good times, and you know that if you let them go, yeah, you lose those bad times that you don't want to have, but you're going to lose all the good times too, and you're going to be back to being alone, and it's not easy to find someone. But I hope you do understand that, when you find someone, your life is finite. There's a limited amount of time that you're going to live, and it is conceivable that you could get to the end of this life and look back and go, oh my god, I didn't live. Like, I wasted so much time and I did so many things that make me unhappy, and you can't go back and change it. It's too late, when you're at the end and you're there. I remember I had a teacher in the 11th grade, Miss Barker. She was my English honors teacher, and I don't know why she picked me out of the crowd, but she had like a special affinity for me. I think I was one of her favorite students. I was very outside the box. I had my own plans, my own goals, my own motivations. In school, other than just getting enough grades to pass, school was secondary to my bigger goals and to just being who I was. And she gave me Walden by Henry David Thoreau, and she specifically, it was like after class, English honors class, I was doing this whole thing, and she asked me to stay after class, and she gave me this book, and she just had the smile on her face, because she told me I was a romantic, and not a romantic as in like romance, like relationship ways. A romantic in the world of literature is something very different. It's like a free thinker, a deep thinker, somebody who sort of craves and is impassioned by ideas and needs to explore the world and understand things and feel things. So she gave me this book, and I read it, and one of the most profound things, probably the most profound thing in my life, happened to me, which is that I realized there will come a day that I will come to die, and that it is possible to get to that end. And there's this quote from the book that says, I came to the woods to live deliberately and to confront... No, I came to the woods to live deliberately and to confront only the essential facts of life and see if I could not learn what it had to teach. And then there's a little bit more, and then it ends with, and not, when I came to die, discover that I had not yet lived. And that was when I realized this huge epiphany for me, that there is an end to this. I don't think most adults my age still have realized it the way that I realized it at that time. Or maybe I'm just very, very weird and I'm paranoid about it. I don't know. But what I do know is that I'm aware every day that this is a special place and a special time for my existence, that it's a blip in the entirety of the universe. I barely blink in and out of existence, and I'm completely unnoticed by the universe. But it is a very special place and a very special time for me and my experience of it. And it does have an end, and yours has an end. And I know this was a stupid long story, but when you find someone and you like a lot of things about them, but you see these particular red flags, you have to follow your gut. It is possible to listen to yourself, and it's usually, I can tell you how to know if your gut's telling you something that it knows that you probably know but you don't want to know, is if when you try to think on it, you start getting sort of flushed and scared, because what that is that's your brain almost allowing itself to make you fully conscious of the fact that you do have to leave, because this isn't what leads to happiness. This won't lead to happiness. And so your world has to change. And you have to recognize that feeling. I've had to do that. I mean, I've exited relationships that were very long term many times in my life. Relationships with people that at one time I was honestly, truly hoping that this was the one, that this was it, and that I wouldn't ever have to go through another breakup again, and that I finally had a stable partner. But despite how many of them that I've exited, there was one that's exactly what I'm talking about. And it was a situation where there were so many things about her that made me happy, and there were so many things about her that I did love, and there was a history there, and there was a bond there, there was a connection there was so much there. But in the end, regardless of what's there, regardless of what you want it to be, wish it to be, need it to be, hope it to be, think that you can one day turn it into, you have to be able to look at somebody and honestly just know who they are. You could say judge them, but it's not judgment. But you do need to use your best judgment of the world and of people to make sure that you can look at these people honestly, the people that you think could be the one, or that you just really, really like and don't want to stop doing this thing with. You have to look at them and see who they are. You have to see how they behave. You have to see, do they lie, and for what reasons. You have to see how they behave under stress. You have to see, especially you need to see how they behave when they're wrong. If they're wrong and they can just casually just say, oh, wow, I was wrong, and then move on with their day like nothing happened, that is a great sign. Because we're all wrong literally all the time. Everybody on this earth is wrong so many times about so many things. But there's a very big difference between somebody who is wrong and just says, sometimes I'm wrong. I guess this is one of those times. Now I know better. Now I've got the truth. Good, I'm more educated. Moving on. And then there's the people who cannot be wrong. You need to run away from that. You need to absolutely run away from it for sure. You want to see how they react to, not how they react to, you want to see how they listen to others. And you want to see especially who they listen to. Who do they admire? Because we all admire people. And you can tell a lot about a person by who they go to for advice, who they bring their problems to, who they respect enough to seek advice from. And you're going to be able to look at those people, and you need to be able to trust yourself when you look at them and say, who is this really? Like, honestly, if I had a daughter or an aunt or a mother or a female cousin, if there was a female in my life that I loved, would I want her to grow into the type of woman that this woman is? And if you say yes, then that's great. You've now got a partner, a prospective partner, whom she's going to to other women for advice that are the right kind of woman. The kind of woman that you understand to be the kind of woman you would want a woman you love to grow up to be. So that is really, really strong. That's a green flag. So, anyways, I guess I could go on and on and on forever, but I guess the point I'm trying to stress is you do need to be strong enough to leave. That's what I had to do, and you'll have to do that, because the only way you don't have to do that is if, unlike most people who date 10, 20, 30 people in their life, some many, many more, some many, many less, but most people date. They're in a lot of relationships. Most people don't get in a relationship early on, and it just happens to be their soulmate was the first one they met. You have to go through others, and the faster you can figure out that the one you're with is definitely not the one, as soon as you see them treat an animal badly, as soon as you see them treat a child badly, as soon as you see them show an absolute complete lack of patience or understanding or empathy or sympathy or love or any of those things, when you see them lacking in that, you have to ask yourself, do I want this woman raising my children? You have to imagine your 8-year-old little girl, and then imagine the person you're with and the way that they treat other people and the way that they treat children and animals and everybody in life, and say, is this the type of person who is likely to treat my little girl with love and understanding, and to always be asking the question, what's best for her? What's best for my little girl or my little boy? What's best for them? Because I'm not going to say most parents don't ask that question, but that is not, as far as I can tell, the most common questions that's on parents' minds when they're deciding how to proceed forward with any of number of situations with their children. There are plenty who do, and luckily me and my wife have surrounded ourselves with those types of people. We integrate our lives in with their lives. We make that conscious choice to say, these are good people who have similar values to us, who are trying, and we want to be friends with and be around and be talking to and be inviting to birthday parties and stuff. We want to be inviting into our lives people who have good values and good morals, and who understand that because they have children, they now are responsible for creating responsible grown adults out of those children, capable grown adults. Because here's the thing, so many things you can do for your children can make them very happy, maybe even make them appear more mentally healthy today. You can just keep a kid happy. It's not very hard. But what happens when that kid is like 7 years old and they're a grown little kid and you're in a Target and they're rolling on the floor screaming and throwing a fit because they know that if they keep doing it for long enough, you will give in and they will get their way. You have to have a strong partner who you think understands, and again, who asks that question, what's best for the child? Because what's best for me in this moment might be to not be embarrassed in Target. What's best for the child in this moment may not be to get embarrassed in Target or to throw a big scene and to get in so much trouble. You could think, maybe it's best for this child for me to put a stop to this scene that's happening right now. But a parent who asks the question, what's best for the kid, if they really truly want to know that answer, they'll understand that what's best for the kid is for them to enter adulthood at the age of 18, having been disciplined and having been educated and having been loved in all of the right ways, so that as they enter adulthood, they're mentally healthy, capable, confident people. Because if you can give your child that, if you can send them out into the world mentally healthy, capable, confident, and loved, knowing they have a support system, willing to take responsible risks, willing to chase dreams, if you can produce a person like that, you've given them the next 80 years of happiness. You've set them up for that. And if you fail to give them that, you can't go back and redo it. You can come to your deathbed and realize that you didn't live right. And I hope to God, I really do. I know I'm not great at being a dad. I do think I'm a good dad. But I see daily what I could have done more, or even what I could have done less of. I see daily, every single time I let some idea in my head make me decide that I'm going to react this way or react that way. for any multitude of reasons, and they're always all good reasons. But I can look at my parenting and I can see where my mistakes are, and I haven't stopped making them. And I don't know that anybody ever does, but I try really hard not to. Like, really, really hard. But that's my goal with my kids. You know, if y'all are listening to this in the future, this is who I am right now. This is your dad, truly, sincerely knowing for a fact that he does not have control over everything. He does not have a handle on everything. He is not the man who has just taken care of things in such a way that everything is smooth and everyone is happy and nobody is anxious or worried. I'm trying to chase a dream right now because I want to move us into a place where, you know, everybody likes to talk about how unimportant money is, how money doesn't matter all that much, and that life can be really great without it. And it's true, it can. And I can take you and we can go drive around just any number of dirt roads and go to any number of single wide trailers that a lot of people pass by and probably think, oh, that must be horrible living there. And inside half of those trailers, there are a lot of happy families. There are a lot of people who don't make much money, don't need much money, and they just spend time together as a family. And those are going to be some of the strongest bonds ever created between parents and children, is being poor just as a byproduct a lot of times, and it just ends up that the result is you spend more time together and children need time, and y'all aren't getting enough from me. But I'm also trying to get us to a place financially where, you know, the people in that trailer that are very, very, very happy and are creating those strong bonds, there's a cost that comes with that. And it's an opportunity cost, because if that's how you grow up and if that's where you grow up, and I'm not specifically talking about trailers. I've mentioned trailers because I grew up in them and a lot of my friends were in them, and we had very happy families and very good lives. And I don't think I missed out on anything by not coming from a family with money, but I want my children to be able to chase their dreams. And I feel like we live in a world where that's getting harder and harder. It's getting more and more expensive, more and more regulated, more and more bureaucratic. And I don't know if y'all are going to be able to really truly pursue all of your dreams. And money is definitely a tool that can help make that happen. When the mortgage is paid, when the health insurance is paid, when everything's paid, when you're not stressed about, oh my God, I'm behind $1,300 on my bills right now and I have to go make more money so I can get those paid so we keep the electric on. When that's not in your way, when you're in a financially stable place in life where that is not in your way, you now have some opportunity to go find out who you are and who you can be. You have the opportunity to go make yourself into who you're going to be, to look out into the world and to just, whatever it is that's your passion. I have no clue what it's going to be for any of y'all. You know, one of y'all just might end up in model rocketry and through the long arc of life end up working on rockets. One of y'all may just learn to sew a little bit from your mom and realize that you love sewing and making things, and you might start an online store and you might turn into a whole business, maybe a business that rounds up hundreds of individual people like you across the country and stocks a store and sells things online that's like a co-op from, I don't know what any of y'all will do, but I want you to have the opportunity to just dream things up and go chase after them, because it's very hard, but it's very exciting. And I've never felt more alive than the times in my life when I was chasing my dreams. Sometimes that occurred within a job for a company, like the drones. That was definitely a dream of mine. It was literally a dream of mine. And I said, I'm going to work on drones. And then I ended up working on drones, and I spent 3 years in Afghanistan as a field service engineer. That was a dream I was chasing. I had purpose. I was trying to do something big. The food truck was a dream of mine. It was something that I chased and worked hard on. and I didn't quite fail at, but I obviously didn't succeed either because I don't have a food truck today. And at one time, the dream was to always have the food truck and maybe more food trucks. So it's just a good way to live, and it's a way that I want to give to y'all. And right now, just so you know, and I'm just going to ramble because honestly, I don't know if I'm posting this online that other people can listen to it or if I'm just going to save it for y'all. But life is just really, really short, and I'm in a place right now where I really don't know where things are going to go. Like, I honestly don't. I don't know where they're going to go. I'm working as hard as I can. And then I feel like a liar when I say that because at some point during the day, I finally do stop working and give myself some time. And I don't regret it, I guess, because I probably do need it so I don't snap. But then at the same time, I feel guilty because had I used this late night time for taking care of business, I would get the business to where it's going faster and better and more profitably. And it's like we're trudging through this zone and there are X number of steps required to get to the other side. And how quickly I choose to walk, how much time I spend putting one foot in front of the other affects how long it takes to get there. And I can have more downtime, more family time, more time with my kids, more time just sort of being me, even like gardening, which I haven't done in years now, and it used to be literally my identity. Like, I was the gardener. It was my life. My garden was big and beautiful, and I haven't had it in years because I'm trying to do something right now. I'm really trying to build this business. And the more time I take, if I were to take time for gardening, it would mean that we are in this like middle zone where I haven't made it and things haven't started getting a little easier yet. But I'm also not at the beginning where things were easier because I wasn't even trying to do anything. So there was no goal, there was no responsibility towards getting us somewhere. And I'm in this middle zone now where it's like, am I walking fast enough? Because if I walk faster and faster, then if I walk all day, every day, then maybe it's 8 months from now when suddenly there's finally just this sigh of relief because I finally made it somewhere. Like, we can finally relax just a little bit. I've got a system in place. I've got the money coming in, and we can start going on family trips and stuff. Maybe that occurs in 8 months, or maybe that occurs in 16 months. So if I put the time into the business to get us as a family there faster, if I put that time into the business to do that, I have to take it from you, from my little children, my little boys. All three of my little boys need me desperately. They need a father. I just know this because I was a little boy who needed a father. I needed someone to love me and to look at me like I was something and to make me feel like I mattered. And y'all need that too, because you do matter, because everything I do is for you. But if I try to get us there faster so you can have more of me overall in the long term, I have to take that away from you now. And I don't want to take it away from you now or ever. But then if I don't do that and I give you my time now, then I keep us in this position for 16 months instead of 8 months or whatever those numbers end up being. And now I feel like I'm a bad dad because, yeah, I got some time with you and I gave you some time, but honestly, who was it for? Because maybe it was for me because I just really, maybe I wanted the time with you more than you needed the time with me. And I don't know what the answer to that question is, but it's what I'm always trying to figure out. It's the balance that I'm always trying to maintain. I don't know if I'm doing it right, but I promise you I'm trying, and I'm probably not trying hard enough, and I'm gonna try harder tomorrow. And I make myself this deal all the time, and I do better and I do worse, but I promise you, I'm waking up every day with the idea in mind that my family, all of my family, deserves the best that I can give them without removing myself from them to give it to them. So I'm just I'm trying, and I hope I'm not wrong. I really do. I hope that the path I'm on is the right one. I hope that I'm sure I haven't balanced it perfectly, but I hope in the overall grand scheme of things, an outsider looking in, I hope would just say, yeah, he's balancing that. I think he's got it. I think he's okay. That's if I'm that good at it, that would be enough for me. But I want you guys to just know how much I love you. Um, I really do. I want you to live your lives. I want you to live them so fully and completely because I don't think anybody does. I do. I promise you I do. Every day, there literally is not a day that goes by that I don't just look out over Tucson as I'm driving around and just imagine, oh my God, this earth is so huge and I am so tiny. And it just sits within this solar system within which it is so tiny, which sits within a galaxy which is tiny. And they sit within galaxy clusters, which are just little pinpoints of light to somebody else far enough away. It's beautiful and amazing. And I think because I'm not religious, I do believe that when this is over, it's over. I think it's a special magical ticket to the Wonka factory, and you get about 80 to 100 years if you're lucky. And once it's done, it's done. I don't think you go somewhere and look back on it and go, oh yeah, that was the time when I was a human on Earth for a while. I think it's just done. And a lot of people think that that would make people not want to live full lives, but I wholeheartedly disagree. My belief that when it's over, is what drives me to make absolutely certain that I don't waste a single second, a single minute, a single day. I don't waste any of it. So, I love you guys. I'm going to try to do more of these videos. I'm sorry that I ramble, but the truth is I like to talk. I like to share what I think I've learned. You're already going to know this about me anyways because I'm your dad. But I do love you guys, and I'm going to try to do more of these just in case anything happens. I'm also very aware daily that somebody could just slam into me on the interstate right now and I could be gone, and I have not set my family up properly yet to take care of themselves without me, to be able to keep this house and to be able to continue improving this house so that it becomes a truly magical home without me out there making money. So again, that's another area I'm failing in. I am working on it, I promise you. But I love you guys, and I'll try to make more of these videos for you.